a wee bit on the inside as well. So the the KTM, I was noticing when I was braking and coming to a stop, just that last few seconds before it would stop, I felt a rumbling from the front wheel. Driving it felt okay, but just every time I went to stop, just as I came to that last yard of stopping, that last wee bit, I felt this rumbling. So I thought, oh, it sounds like wheel bearings. So I thought, I'll go and check the wheel bearings. So I'm going to do it now, have a wee look, because I've got a funny feeling that might be the cause of it. Just bear with me for a minute till I get my stand. So I've put the bike up in the stand. So the wheel's just touching the ground. And if you give the wheel a shake, you hear that knocking? So that's the wheel knocking, the wheel bearings are shot. So going to have to take the wheel off, going to have to replace the wheel bearings, so let's make a start. The first thing I do is I've got my trolley jack here, so I'll just pop that up a wee bit. So it's on the centre stand, so the centre stand will hold it. And I've put the trolley jack in just to lift the front wheel just off the ground and no more. Because if you have it too high, you've got to sort of lift the wheel up and down to put the bolt in and out. So anyway, we've got a couple of torque bolts up here. We've got the big nut here to take off, and the spindle goes through that way and out this side. Also, just as well whipping off the caliper, so I'll do that now. So first thing I'm going to do, TX45 spline socket. And we'll just swap these brake calipers off. Now I might have to prise the pads open a wee bit because there's a lip on the disc. I think I need a new disc, so I'll do that the next time I change the brakes, but oh, is it coming off? So yeah, just whip that off, leave it to the side and do the same at the other side. So the next thing to do, you've got two torque sockets up here and they're a TX40. I can't get my drill that far, so just turn them the right way to start with. Get the two of them, slacken them off and then whip them out. Can't get the second one, where is it? Anyway, you know what I mean. There it is. So once they're slackened off, you just put your sort of on, socket on, and you can push them out by hand. Maybe not. These are the ones that pinch this together and hold this bolt in place to stop it slipping. So sometimes it's worth putting a wedge or something in here just to open this up a bit. Don't be, in that way it's not gripping the pin too tight, but don't be too brutal with it, just very, very gentle, because it's only aluminium. And then same with the other side. So I've just made the big mistake. I took all these bolts out each side before I took this nut off. So I put one on the other side, so one back in on the other side, just to hold that shaft. and then unscrew this nut. Now I did a job on this a while ago where I done the front shocks. I put new seals in, new fluid, and this shaft was actually seized in, so it took a bit of getting out, and I actually damaged the end here. So when I put the nut in, it was a case of just crank it in as tight as it would go and leave it at that, because the threads were buggered. So I did that. So I've got another pin and another plug, so that's okay. So what I'll do is I'll just put that in a wee bit. I'll take this last remaining bolt off of this side. So once you got that big nut off the end, you'll find this is sticking through a wee bit. Just grab it and give it a twist and slowly slide it out. Now this is easy because I did the shocks a while ago, so this is going to come out fairly simple. So just keep working it out until you get the pin out. Sometimes you have to give it a bit of persuasion with a hammer, which I might do. I'll see how I get on, but it should come out pretty simple, like that. There you go. And as you can see, pin's thicker on this end, so once it's in and these bolts clamp it, that's not going to move, and then the nut goes on this end. I suppose the nut stops it sliding out. But anyway, I've got a new one of them, and I'll probably use that. And there's the wheel. So I just need to pop it up a wee bit in the jack, like that, and take the wheel out. Bob's your uncle. Now let's change the wheel bearings. So there's a seal goes in here, there's a seal in here, and there's this ring goes in here, and as you can see it's quite loose, which means that moisture's been getting in there. So I've cleaned it up. I'll put this to the side, and on the other side, this is the bigger side. Again, you see it's loose. That's because the actual rubber seal's worn, and it's been letting moisture in. That'd probably grease out. So I'll clean that, put that to the side, and that's that done. So the next job you want to do is prise these seals out. Just put a big screwdriver in, twist it like that, and the seals come out. You can feel your bearing in here. Oh, that's gritty. I wish you could hear that, but you can feel it's like grit, so it shows that the bearings are buggered. So that bearing will have to come out, be replaced, and let's take the seal out of this side. So these are the original wheel bearings, 35,000 Ks, which isn't bad. Now, there's a pin in here. Don't know if you can see it, but there's a wee pin here, so I'll need to get my pliers and take that pin out. So the first thing we're going to do is try and get this side out. So the easiest way is to set 2 blocks with the disc on the blocks and knock it through from the other side. So before you do that, the bearings are quite tight, So it actually pays to heat the surround. If you heat the surround, this metal will expand and the bearings should, in theory, fall out. It never does, but we'll give it a wee heat. Don't heat the bearing though, because if you heat the bearing, that's going to have the opposite effect. You just want to heat the surround and just keep going till it feels quite hot. And just keep working on it until you get the bearing out. Just let me look. It's hardly moved, but it will come out. So after being at this for 5 minutes or so, looking things about useless, I've brought in the big guns. Nah, not the wife's hairdryer, but heat gun. So again, we'll just heat the surround and then we'll try and pop it out. Oops, there's the back one out. So it's taken me about 15 minutes. Using the wee heat gun was useless. I had to get the big air gun onto it. So once you got that done, just give it a good clean up. If there's any wee bits where you've hit the aluminium, then moving a bit as well. Yeah. If there's any wee bits, clean them up with a file. And if there's not, then you're fine. This is the back one. This is the front one where the pin goes. So I'll need to clean that up so that that pin goes in there. So the new bearings have been in the freezer for, I don't know, 15 minutes I reckon. So I'll get another 15 minutes, have a cup of coffee, and then I'll come put the new wheel bearings in. So before I put the bearings in, I'll give you a wee look in there. There's a wee spots of rust off the bearings, and there's a wee, it's what I call a fuck it bit. That's a wee bit where I've hit it with a screwdriver, so I've filed that off to smooth it. I'll give it a good wipe out. Now you can see bits of rust in there, you know, off the bearing. So it shows that because the seal wasn't sealing properly, water was getting into the wheel bearing and it was actually rusting. If the bike sits for a couple of days without being used, rust starts. So I'll get a wee bit of emery paper, clean all that rust off, and when I put the new bearings in and put the seals in, I'll make sure there's a wee bit of grease on them so as it gives a proper seal. But it's certainly something to check every now and again, eh? A wee bit of water getting in, rusting your wheel bearings, and it buggers it up like that. But the bearing itself, when I took the bearing out, it was grinding, so yeah, it was knackered. So there you go, steps for taking that out. Big heat gun, heat the outside, and then the bearings just pop through with a couple of hits, and that's it. Tidy it up, and then after your bearings have been in the freezer for half an hour, just pop them in, pop the seals back in, put your wheel back on. Bob's your uncle. Anyway, cup of coffee time. So what have I got here? Wheel bearings frozen in the freezer. So I'm going to keep these cold until I need to use them. So somebody says, why don't you heat this up and the bearings will pop in? But if you heat this up, you put the new wheel bearing in, what can happen is it'll melt the grease. You didn't want to do that, eh? So, pop this one in first. Got a big socket, I'll use the back end. Put that one back in freeze mode. So, put your wheel bearing in, get a big socket. And pop it in like that. Yeah, I think that's it. Turn this over, and remember, pop your shim in. Don't forget about that. Yeah. Your next wheel bearing, same again. And now, as long as you can, oh Jesus, sorry, you felt a bit. As long as you can see the rim in there, to put that clip back in, you're laughing. I'll just give it another wee done. And another one. I think that's it. And we'll put the big clip back in. Then, once you get it in, just get a screwdriver, give it a wee tap down, and you'll hear it click in place. There we go. And you can see it's clipped into place. I think my camera's all over the place. So yeah, so that's it. In place, as you can see. First one's in here. Here's your clip. Make sure you put that inner shim in. Second one's here in. That's in as far as it'll go. So it's just a matter of putting the seals on. I've got them here. Cut a wee bit grease on here. And a wee bit grease on the outside, and it'll pop in. Much easier, and if there's a wee bit grease it makes it more pliable, so when you put the new shaft in, which I've got here, well, that doesn't do it, it's not the shaft, sorry, it's the spacers that go in there. See, that's a nice tight fit. That's a nice tight fit now, so it's not going to let anything in there, but it's worth, yeah, it's worth keeping an eye on that for water getting in. Anyway, I'll get some grease. So what I like to do is get my pin. So this is a new one. Got this from KTM at Newcastle, up near Sydney. Put a wee bit of grease on it. Don't do any harm, and it keeps it sort of lubricated. So that the next time you want to take it off, you're not going to have a massive problem. So that's looking good. I'll just put the new nut on this side. And that'll pull it through into position, hopefully. go. That's it on. After a bit of messing around. Bolt's tight, the nut's tight. I'll put these bolts in, crank them up, and then put the brake calipers on. And that should be it. So that's one side done. I'm just finishing this side. Just always remember when you're finished doing this, pump your brakes, make sure they're okay. Give your discs a wee clean with brake cleaner or something, just to make sure there's no grease on them. Then give the wrong side, give the brakes a wee pump. There we go. That's that done. So, all that's left to do now is take it for a wee spin. And tidy up. Well, test this wheel bearing out. I'll know as soon as I brake. Oh wow, what a difference. Yeah, when I was braking before, just the last few seconds you get this rumble coming through the handlebars coming up from the front wheel, and that's what it was, wheel bearings. Wow. So if you ever want to check your wheel bearings, just check for that play. If you ever get funny feeling coming up through your handlebars when you brake, then you know that it's probably your wheel bearings are gone. So yeah, so the old KTM, I love using this bike. I use this bike every day for my work. I keep the old Goldwing just for days off, weekends, all that sort of thing. Taking the wife out on the bike, doing a wee bit of touring. Yeah, it's good fun. I love riding that Goldwing, to be honest with you. But I love the KTM as well. This is the best, probably the best commuting bike I've ever had. I thought maybe it would be a bit on the big side, because I'm not that tall and the bike is quite tall, but I did lower it a wee bit, about an inch, and it's made all the difference. I don't know if I really needed to lower it, to be honest, but I did, however. So this is just a wee quick run, just to test the brakes out. I need to go up to the shop as well. So I'll just do a wee bit round the area while I've got the camera on. How busy traffic. Jeez, oh very good. Thanks mate. Busy road. Of course, a week or so before Christmas. Is it a week? 2 weeks? A week? I can't remember. 2 weeks or something to Christmas. So everything's getting really busy. Really busy.
it's not even worth going to the shops now, because if you go to the shops it's just you can't get moving, it's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, back to the KTM. Brilliant bike for commuting. Yeah, it does everything you want in a bike. I did have problems with it, I will admit. I did have a few problems with it, but the problems I had were more electrical than anything. And I put a gel battery on it. That did it for a while, but the minute there's a wee bit wear in the gel battery, it started playing up again. So I learned that if you went out and your KTM didn't start the first time, it wasn't going to start again. It just, the minute it senses something wrong, the C-bus on it just kills the bike and it won't start. You got to sort of leave it off and go back to it the next day and she'll start fine. So I found out, yeah, if there's a wee bit wear on the battery, it'll just, yeah, it's bloody useless. So what I did this time was I got a lithium battery, and I put a lithium battery in it. Since then I've never had a problem. Starts every time. There it is. I'm running about and it's showing 14.1 volts, so it's charging fine. Yeah, it's running well, and it starts every time. So I think lithium was the way to go, although this is us coming into summer now. It's about a couple of weeks into summer. So the biggest way to find out will be when it comes to winter again, because winter time's when your batteries die. So we'll see how it goes. If we come into winter and the battery does fine, then obviously lithium's the way to go. But yeah, these bikes are terrible for electrical problems, and when I say electrical problems, it all stems from the battery. Time and time again I hear people having problems, they change the battery and it's fine. So yeah, I just don't understand it. But however, it's just one of these things, that's part of being a bike rider, I suppose. But apart from that, this is probably the best bike I've ever had for commuting. It's big, so you're not cramped, you can ride long distances. The seat's fairly comfortable. It's good on fuel. She'll sit in the freeway 120 easily without struggling. She's got loads of power. I mean, 160 horsepower. You know, that's as good as any sports bike or super sports bike. It'll keep up with anything. But again, the Goldwing's the ultimate if you want to go cruising around, That's definitely the ultimate bike to have. And I love riding that thing. But this KTM's fun. I mean, if you open it, look at that. I mean, the front wheel's trying to lift there, and I was only giving it a little bit of throttle, I mean, it's just wild. Even in top gear, when you whip the throttle back, the front wheel's bouncing off the ground. It really is the ultimate fun bike. It'll get you out of any situation that you get in, and it'll get you where you want to go as quick as any other bike will. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. I'm just nipping into Woolies. I'm going to get some steak and some chips. Just seeing as I've been working on the bike today and the wife's been busy working from home, we'll just have a quick steak and chips with some paper sauce for tea, and chillax and see if there's anything decent on the TV, maybe a movie or a drama series or something like that. But yeah, so it just shows you it's very hard sometimes to tell when your wheel bearings are gone. Usually you get a grinding noise from the front, or a crack, and you can hear the bearings. I didn't hear that. The only time I got that was when I braked and I just pulled up. At the last minute, that last wee bit braking, you could feel the grinding of the wheel bearing. It was coming right through the wheel, through the braking system. So yeah, if you ever get that happening, it's your wheel bearings. Or probably 99% of the time it'll be real bearings. Anyway, that's it for me. Into Woolies and get some steak and chips. Good thing about having a bike, you don't have to worry about parking spaces.